Heroes versus Villains, a game mode that I know a lot of you has requested to see gameplay from, which is why I decided to post that first, because it was also some of the most fun I had at the capture event when we played Star Wars Battlefront 2. Heroes vs Villains has undergone quite a change from the previous game and does now only contain heroes in a 4 vs 4 match. This means that you will have purely hero combat and you don't have to play a freaking stormtrooper fighting Luke, which I am so glad about, because this is the kind of action that you really want. And since the hero combat has been improved so much from the previous game, it also makes the actual combat between the different heroes a lot more fun. And although I have to admit that when you see 4 vs 4 clashing together, it's still pretty chaotic. I don't think we will ever get away from that, but there's a lot of lightsaber and ability spam when you see all the people clashing at one point, whereas if you do a one-on-one on the side of the map, it's a lot more tactics involved, although there's still some tactics in any battle that you do with a hero, since some of their abilities can be used, well, more or less effectively, to say the least. The actual objective when you play Heroes vs Villains is to take out the enemy target, so instead of just having a pure clash and blast match, they've added a little bit more of tactics to the game mode, which I think is fun, but still keep it to actually killing enemy heroes and not having to pick up some weird object or something like that. So it simply works the way that one target gets picked in each team and the goal for the other team is to take out that target, and if you do, the enemy will lose 1 reinforcement point. And when that hero is dead, 2 new will be picked, so the one that were on the winning team of that round will not stay alive, which means that sometimes it can be worth throwing yourself in there when you are the target if you think that you're gonna kill the other guy before you die, because if that's the case, their team is gonna lose a point but your team won't, even if you die, as long as you die after their target, if that makes sense. We got the chance to play on Kamino, Naboo and Hoth, and all of these were really cool to play on, but I think my personal favorite was probably Naboo, because that is such an iconic place that Darth Maul, Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan has probably one of the best battles in the prequels, and being able to have a full-on Heroes vs Villains clash on that map was absolutely fantastic. And on top of that, the Kamino and Hoth maps I had played parts of in the Galactic Assault version, so those weren't as exciting, although still fun, but Naboo was something brand new that I think is only available in Heroes vs Villains actually. And as you can probably see from the gameplay, force powers are quite important on some parts of the maps, because you can push, throw or trick people down the pit on multiple of these maps, especially on the Naboo map, where one force push from Luke will throw you down the pit and you will most likely die, unless you're very lucky and land on one of the ledges. So this can at some points be a little bit frustrating, because no matter which hero you are, Luke can simply do one force push and you will fall down, but it also adds a lot of tactic to the actual game mode, because there's still a completely other part of the map that's safe from falling down. So if you are the target, you can decide, do you want to play risky and actually bring your hero out to the generator room part of the map and then take advantage of that, or do you want to stay in the actual safe room? So it opens up a lot of fun tactics in the game mode, and it also means that you need to take a look at what heroes the enemy team has. Do they have a lot of force wielders? And if they don't, well, then it's gonna be pretty safe to be out there. And one of my favorites personally was when I managed to trick Darth Maul into walking straight down into the pit on Hoth. Because as you know, if you use the mind trick, it inverts your controls, and that is very confusing if you are on the receiving end. And as you can see right here, this Maul just slowly walks to the right and boom, falls down and dies. That was probably one of my favorite moments when playing Heroes vs Villains. Just our initial feedback after playing this game mode were that some of the heroes such as Darth Vader and Kylo Ren were a little bit too powerful, but we only had the chance to play Heroes vs Villains for about 1 or 1.5 hours, so it's very hard to figure out what might be the best and worst hero so far. And I'm super excited to see what the community will figure out after a day or two, because when millions of people play the game, well, it's gonna take a lot faster to figure out what's good and what's bad. But I think that is all I want to say about Heroes vs Villains for now. I'm gonna leave you guys with some more highlights from when I play that game mode, and I'm sure I will have a lot more Heroes vs Villains videos once the game is out as well. Thank you very much for watching, and enjoy the rest of the gameplay.
Hit him like Darth Maul. easier than I thought.
Life always seems simple in a fight.
Identifying target.
Last chance!
Defy me?
This plan works. Refreshments are on me.
Target detected.
This time I'm not playing the good host.
Expecting to receive revenge.
You can't do this.
Target identified.
Don't mind the smoke.
Switching to thermal.
You might want to run.
Nearby.
Opponent armed.
They have hope. We have Inferno Squad. Your numbers are too thin.